The day has come where I review some of the Pokemon sealed investment products I told you guys to invest in 6 months ago. Now, if you want to keep a track and see how these things go in the future, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. Also, I have hay fever, so I needed these. As per the introduction, today we're going to revisit 18 Pokemon sealed products that I had recommended for investment 6 months ago. Now, initially I was going to do a video recap a year later. However, I thought it might be good to have a look at what the current state of the market is and how much these boxes have moved up or down. Now, I do have my kids running around upstairs. It's time for them to get ready for school tomorrow. So if you hear any noise in the background, I apologize in advance. I can't help it. I'm a dad. I've got a family. Let's get into it immediately. The first product that I had recommended, according to my list, back in Jan 2024 for investment this year was the Arceus V figure collection box. Now, I have got some paper with me and some notes, so I'm going to, if I look down, that's what I'm doing. I'm just making sure I'm looking at the notes. Now, the Arceus V figure collection at the time on TCG Player was selling for $38.37. It is currently sitting at $43.97, having given you a profit of $5.60 with a 14.6% increase over the last 6 months. Now, that's not crazy. It's still pretty decent. And I would still say that this is still a valid investment. What I'm also going to do is, if you stick around throughout the video, I'm also going to suggest other things you can buy, as well as what should not be purchased from this list, if any. Number 2 was the Brilliant Stars booster box. This one I had looked at the time. It was selling for $158.55. The booster box is currently trading at, according to TCG Player, for $186.49. So $186.49. Had you bought the box back then, you would have made a profit of $27.94 and made a 17.66% increase on the product. Product number 3 was the Chilling Reign booster box. Again, this at the time was selling for $162.17. It is now currently trading at around $231.37. Had you bought this box back then, you would have made a profit of $69.20. That represents a 42.6% increase on Chilling Reign. Now, at this stage, I would say that Chilling Reign is still investable. However, I would be very cautious. It could happen that the market evens out a little bit. If you were able to pick up a box for around $200, I'd say it's still potentially worth investing in. Next on the list, number 4, we have the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection from Sword and Shield. A great selection of packs, including Evolving Skies, Chilling Reign, and Brilliant Stars within the box itself. At the time, they were selling for cheap, 90, 100. They were printed through the ground. And I did mention in that video to say, hold up. The pack selection is great in there. The Charizard UPC at the time was selling for $107.52 and is currently trading at around $141.39. That would have given you a profit of $33.87 or 31.8% increase in value over the last 6 months. Number 5 on the list is another UPC. This time it's the Scarlet and Violet 151 English UPC Ultra Premium Collection. At the time, it was selling for $97.60. It is now currently trading at $119.12, having given you a profit of $21.52 or 22% overall. Having spoken about 151 Scarlet and Violet, I also mentioned the Elite Trainer Box, which at the time was selling for $46.51. Currently, it is trading at $67.90, giving you a profit of $21.39 or 46% increase, which is huge for an Elite Trainer Box over that period of time. And they were very freely available back then. They still are now, but you have to pay the premium for it. Next on the list was the Crown Zenith ETB, and I think these are still very investable. At the time, the Crown Zenith Elite Trainer Box was selling for $40.31. Currently trading at, according to TCG Player, at $50.59. Had you bought it back then, you would have made a profit of around $10.28 or 25.5%, which is pretty good. Around 20 to 30% increase in 6 months is absolutely amazing. I would also say that Crown Zenith Elite Trainer boxes are still very investable. Number 8 on the list, to nobody's surprise, was the Evolving Skies ETB, a pair of ETBs. That's what I'd recommended you buy to get both artworks. At the time, they were trading at 171.1, so $171.10. Currently, according to TCG Player, they are selling for $242.71. This would have given you a profit over 6 months of $71.61, or 41.85% increase, which is amazing. Even at that price, at that point, it was a bit expensive, but to see where the booster boxes have gone, it was naturally going to happen that the ETBs also go up in value. Now, let's move on to an L. I had recommended the Hidden Fates Elite Trainer Box, which at the time was selling for $171.63. Currently trading pretty flat at $171.08. You would have lost 55 cents, which is negligible. We're talking about a quarter of a percent, a third of 1%, very, very little. So you wouldn't have made anything, but you wouldn't have lost a huge amount on that ETB had you bought it. I did say at the time, if you can pick them up for slightly cheaper, around $150, it's worth buying. Now, moving on to number 10 was the Shining Legends pin collection. And this was the Marshadow version that I had recommended. The reason being that it represented better value. At the time, the Marshadow box was selling for, on TCG Player, according to TCG Player, for $74.99. They are currently selling for, according to TCG Player, $84.38, representing a profit percentage or a increase percentage of 12.52%. or $9.39 profit over that period of time. Number 11. This was one of my favorite, actually, 3-pack blisters that I recommend people investing in. Obviously, the more modern they are, the better value you're going to get out of them, especially from good sets. And this was Ultra Prism 3-pack blisters. Now, there are various different versions of it. I think there's a Porygon one. There's a few others. This at the time was selling for $46.79 and currently selling at $53.49, representing a $6.70 increase, or 14.32% overall over that period of time. The next product I recommended was Astral Radiance. And at the time, I remember being told, oh, Astral Radiance, that's rubbish. It's not a great set. I think it's a great set. I said it back then, and I still stick to that now. It's got the trainer gallery. It's got some really, really nice artwork within the set. And I think people are going to enjoy the set in the future. This, at the time, was selling for $127.69. Current market rates, according to TCG Player, $179.94. This would have given you a 41% increase in value, or a profit of $52.25 over the last 6 months, which is absolutely amazing. Now, moving on to the next one, was also Lost Origin booster boxes. Now, we all know where that's gone. At the time, they were selling on TCG Player, according to them, at $139.82. Currently, they are selling for $202.39. Now, you might be able to get better deals elsewhere, but this is just TCG Player pricing. This would have given you a profit of more than $62.57, with a whopping 44.75% increase over the last 6 months. Number 14. Now, this one is, again, one that is a slight L, and this was XY Flash Fire booster packs. When I say an L, you wouldn't have lost a lot of money on this investment had you just picked up a pack. Packs at the time were selling for $63.39. They're currently selling for $61.04, giving you a loss of 3.72%, or $2.35 loss overall if you had bought the Flash Fire booster packs. I still think they're great and worth holding and having. Next, we have number 15 on the list, which is Silver Tempest booster boxes. Now, at the time, they were selling for $132.03. They're currently selling at $166.76. You would have made a profit of $34.73 over the last 6 months, representing 26.3% increase on that booster box for Silver Tempest. I believe Silver Tempest from the Sword and Shield block is also the most readily available. And I would say that although it's creeping up in price, it potentially is still worth investing in if you can pick the boxes up at around about $150. Number 16. Obsidian Flames booster boxes. Now, at the time, they were selling for sub $95. The price, according to TCG Player at the time back in Jan, was $94.77, and now selling at $101.34 with a 6.9% increase or a profit of $6.57. Now, I do think that Obsidian Flames is investable still at this price because of the fact that it is sub MSRP and also around the $100 mark. If you can pick it up under $100, pick up a box or a case, depending on your budget, and just store it away. I promise you, in 3 years' time, it's going to be worth more. Number 17, Paldea Evolved booster boxes. Now, I had a lot of people contact me privately saying it's not a great set, blah, 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 blah. And I've had those conversations with them. And all I'm going to say is it's gone up nearly 30%, 29.23% over the last 6 months. The booster box was initially selling for $99.72. Now currently trading at $128.87. You would have made a profit of $29 had you bought the box back then. And I still do think right now Paldea Evolved is still investable at that price. If you can pick it up at around $120, $125, that represents a great deal. It's a great set, guys. And last but not least, V-Star Universe. These booster boxes are the biggest sale. I've actually lost, well, I would have lost, and I do hold many boxes of V-Star Universe. I don't know if you saw my video of the booster cases I bought for 151. I do collect Japanese as well. V-Star Universe is something I'm not heavily invested in, but I hold I don't want to say how much, but I hold quite a decent amount of V-Star Universe. Now, these were selling at the time for around $85 on eBay. They're currently selling at about $65 in the US and around 50 to 60 pounds in the UK, depending on where you buy them from. If you can get them including shipping and tax, then it's worth it. At current prices, I do think V-Star Universe is one of those products that if you do like Japanese to invest in now, because the prices are super, super low, you would have lost $20 per box had you bought it back then, which represents around a 30.77% loss on V-Star Universe.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now, let's look at the total numbers. So had you bought all of those products, one of each, back in Jan 2024, now in June 2024, the total spend back then would have been $1,857.41. The total value, just according to TCG Player, of all of these products would have been $2,226.22. So 1857 versus 2,226, there or thereabouts, would have given you a profit of around $368 over these products, these 18 products. Also, considering that there's a couple of products which have had a loss, obviously V-Star Universe being the biggest one. But had you just invested in all of the Pokemon English, you would have not had any issues whatsoever, because most of the other products where there were losses, they were negligible. They were literally percentage of a point or very, very small, minuscule amounts. The total profit would have represented you, even including the V-Star Universe, just below 20%, so 19.85% profit gross over these products had you bought it. Now, the question is, we've looked at these things. Some of them, as I said, are still investable at this moment in time. I would say that the RCS V-Figure collection definitely is worth still investing in. I think Brilliant Stars, if you can pick it up at about 175, 170 is still worth buying. Chilling Reign has just got a bit crazy, $230 or dollars. I would say if you can pick it up around 200, it's worth buying. The Charizard UPC, if you can pick it up around 120 to 130, it's still worth buying in my opinion. Scarlet and Violet, 151 Mew UPC, definitely worth buying still at 119. The Scarlet and Violet ETB at 67.90. I think it really depends. If you can get it slightly cheaper, that's better. But I think in the long term, if you're holding 5 to 6, 7 years, it's worth buying. Crown Zenith is definitely worth buying. Evolving Skies, I wouldn't touch it. I bought whatever I needed to buy, unless I was able to get some Elite Trainer boxes for really, really cheap, like 2 for 140 or 130. I might even consider it at that point. Hidden Fates, I wouldn't invest in it right now unless you really like the set. Shining Legends Pin Collection, yep, it's not too bad, under $100. Ultra Prism 3-pack blister still at $53.49, very, very good. Astro Radiance sub 200. Basically, anything Sword and Shield sub 200, if you can get it for less, $10 to $20 less than what is showing on TCG Play, is worth buying. Now, the question is, what do you invest in going into the future? We've talked about Sword and Shield and some of the Japanese sets that I've invested in recently. Now, for me, I would say that anything Scarlet and Violet, that is sub $100 is going to be a good buy in 3 to 5 years from now. Scarlet and Violet base, great set if you can pick it up under $100. Anywhere around 95 to 100, pick it up. 90, even better. Okay. Paradox Rift, same thing. Great set. If you can pick it up for under $100, pick it up. Just buy one. Obsidian Flames, the same thing. Temporal Forces, the same thing. Twilight Masquerade, it doesn't matter what sets we're talking about here. If they're English booster boxes and you can get hold of them for under $100, start accumulating them. You can already see Obsidian Flames getting up above the $100 mark. We can see a bunch of other Paldea Evolved, for example, way above $100, right? These are Scarlet and Violet sets, guys. And they all have limited print cycles. So anything Scarlet and Violet under $100, if it's a booster box, sealed booster box, and you can verify the purchase, the buyer, if you can verify the seller and the purchase, go ahead and buy them. And I would say buy sets which are good sets, buy sets that make great sets, sets that have really good set identity, that have good artwork, that have got the element of the chase, that have a good balance between card value, but also pull rates, but not crazily easy pull rates or really, really difficult pull rates. Okay. If you want to see what makes a good set, make sure you slap this like button. Make sure you subscribe. Apologies. By the way, my hay fever went, so I took the shades off. So make sure you slap the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you find this kind of information useful, because I will be doing reviews of these sets in the future. And also, if you want to see what makes a good set, what makes up a good set that might potentially be worth investing in, watch this video up above here, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.